The sun was beginning to set over the ancient buildings of Oxford University, where Dr. Helena Carter was concluding one of her lectures on ancient civilizations. At 35 years old and with a solid career behind her, Helena was known for her analytical mind and her skepticism toward myths that others found fascinating. In particular, she had always dismissed any mention of Atlantis, a legend that, to her, was nothing more than a tall tale. For Helena, archaeology should stick to the facts and not entertain stories that defy scientific logic. As she gathered her materials, she was interrupted by Julian Marquez, a young explorer and historian. With unwavering enthusiasm, Julian firmly believed that Atlantis was not just a myth, but a real civilization. "Helena, you have to hear this. A new discovery has been made in the Mediterranean, and the artifact suggests something far beyond what we have seen before," he said. Practically breathless, Helena raised her eyebrows skeptically, but her interest was piqued when Julian revealed more details. Fragments of a submerged civilization had been found near Greece. Despite her reservations, she knew that this could be a unique opportunity to expand her knowledge. "I don't believe in legends, Julian, but it might be interesting to check it out," she replied, trying to keep her tone professional. A few days later, Helena was asked to lead an expedition to the site, sponsored by Victor Hansen, a mysterious tycoon with a personal interest in the discovery. Despite her suspicions about Hansen's intentions, she accepted the offer. This could be her greatest archaeological discovery, even if she had to face what, for her, was just a figment of human imagination. The soft light of dawn reflected off the calm waters of the Mediterranean as the expedition ship headed toward the submerged area. Dr. Helena Carter, now leading a team of experts, watched the horizon, lost in thought. The weight of responsibility began to weigh on her shoulders. Julian Marquez, full of energy, was at her side, eager to explore the site and prove that his years of studying Atlantis were correct. "This is it, Helena. The coordinates are correct," Julian said, pointing to the monitors showing the ocean floor. The expedition's technology was cutting edge, including underwater drones and high-resolution sonars capable of mapping every detail of the depths. Helena, skeptical as she was, could not help but be impressed by the images that appeared on the screens. As they descended with the drones, the first evidence of an ancient civilization began to appear: stone pillars, monumental staircases, and sculptures corroded by time. It was a stunning sight, but also strange and disturbing. Julian, overcome with emotion, murmured, "This is just the beginning. I know we're on to something big." Helena was still skeptical, but she couldn't deny what she was seeing. She was facing something greater than any previous discovery. As the expedition progressed, the tension between her and Victor Hansen, the magnate who was financing the mission, also increased. Hansen was not a mere sponsor. He seemed to have a personal interest in the discovery of something specific. Days later, while exploring an underwater chamber, the team found a mysterious crystal. The artifact emanated a peculiar energy and seemed out of place amidst the ruins. Helena studied the crystal suspiciously, but Hansen seemed enchanted. "This is it. I knew there was something more here," he said with a twinkle in his eye. The mood on the expedition began to change. Helena, Julian, and the rest of the team were not sure what the object represented, but Victor Hansen seemed to have a very clear idea. With this artifact in hand, the search for Atlantis became much more than just an archaeological expedition. It was about to turn into something dangerous. The discovery of the crystal gave a new dimension to the expedition. Helena, increasingly intrigued by the nature of the artifact, immersed herself in research and analysis. Together with Julian, she examined ancient inscriptions and data obtained from the ruins. What they found was disturbing. The crystal was mentioned in records as a source of power used by the ancient Atlanteans, and its use was said to have caused the downfall of the civilization. "This crystal is not a simple relic, Helena. It is what destroyed Atlantis," Julian said, examining the inscriptions. The evidence was increasingly clear. Atlantis, an advanced civilization, had fallen due to technology they could not control. Helena, although reluctantly, began to accept the possibility that the legend of the sunken city might have a basis in reality. However, as Helena and Julian searched for answers, Victor Hansen became increasingly obsessed with the crystal. He saw in it an opportunity, something beyond archaeology. For him, the crystal was a weapon, a source of power that could be used to transform the modern world. "You two don't understand what this means," Hansen said, irritated by Helena's hesitation. "This crystal could put us at the top of humanity." The tension between them grew quickly. Helena tried to convince Hansen to leave the artifact in scientific custody, but he had other plans. One night, Hansen, in a desperate act, took the crystal by force and fled with it to the deepest ruins of Atlantis. It was clear that he intended to activate it. Regardless of the consequences, Helena and Julian went after Hansen, but it was too late. When they tried to manipulate the artifact, it triggered a reaction. The ocean began to vibrate, and the submerged ruins began to move. "It's happening!" Julian exclaimed in horror. The city of Atlantis, which had previously been inert beneath the ocean, began to respond to the crystal's energy. Giant waves and earthquakes began to shake the place as they tried to protect themselves. Helena and Julian realized that the activation of the crystal was bringing the ancient city back to life, but this was no peaceful rebirth. Something dark was emerging along with Atlantis. The power that destroyed the city thousands of years ago was about to be unleashed once more. The city is rising. And we can't let it complete this cycle, Helena said, already understanding the gravity of the situation. If they didn't act quickly, Atlantis's re-emergence could cause a global catastrophe, destroying everything around it. The situation had reached a critical point. As the ruins of Atlantis began to emerge from the depths of the ocean, Helena and Julian's team struggled to survive. The surrounding waters were seething with the energy released by the crystal, and the ancient structures that had lain submerged for so long began to violently rise. Chaos was total. What had once been crumbling ruins were now taking shape, as the ancient city revealed its true scale. Towering towers, stone streets, and vast temples rose from the darkness of the ocean floor. But along with this rise came devastating earthquakes and tsunamis. The city was rising again, but at the cost of the stability of the planet. Victor Hansen, however, was not about to back down. With the crystal in hand, he believed he could control the city's energy for his own purposes. "I am the only one who can control this," Hansen shouted as he ran toward the center of the newly resurrected city. He wanted to use the crystal's power to shape the world according to his vision, but he didn't realize that he was only hastening its destruction. Helena and Julian followed him, trying to stop him before it was too late. Julian shouted as he tried to stop Hansen. Helena realized that the only way to save the world was to destroy the crystal, even if it meant sealing Atlantis's fate forever. In a desperate final move, she fought with Hansen to take the artifact. With Julian's help, Helena managed to destroy the crystal. The city, already unstable, began to collapse once more. Giant waves swallowed the towers and temples, and Atlantis was pulled back into the depths. Victor Hansen disappeared into the waters, along with the secrets of the civilization he had so desperately sought to control. Helena and Julian narrowly escaped the destruction, swimming back to the safety of their vessel as the ancient city crumbled around them. The once great city of Atlantis had vanished again, perhaps this time for good. The destruction of the crystal marked the end of Atlantis's re-emergence. Helena and Julian, exhausted and injured, emerged from the chaos, rescued by the remaining members of the expedition. The waters, now calm, showed no sign of the ancient city. Atlantis, once again, was lost forever. Helena, transformed by the experience, reflected on everything they had discovered. Science and reason were still pillars of her being, but now she knew there was more to the world than visible facts. The myth of Atlantis, which she had long dismissed, had proven real, but its existence brought with it a danger greater than anyone could have imagined. "Back on the surface," Julian commented, "the world will never know what we found here. And maybe that's for the best." Helena silently agreed. The power of Atlantis was too dangerous to be revealed to the public. She decided that the discovery would remain a secret, preserving humanity's safety. However, before they left, Julian found something Helena had missed, a small artifact left behind in the ruins of Atlantis. It was a piece suggesting that the mystery wasn't entirely solved. "Maybe one day we'll come back," he said with a half-dashed smile as the ship sailed away from the site. Helena gazed at the horizon. She knew that the story of Atlantis wasn't entirely buried. Perhaps in the future, more secrets from the lost city would be revealed, but for now, the ocean would keep its mysteries.